Well, welcome everybody to tonight's Giving Machine volunteer training session. I'm grateful that you're here. It's great to see you all. I recognize some names and a face. Jenny, welcome. Are you all from, unmute your microphones if you can, please. And are you all from Escondido Steak, everybody? Pam, you,
Yes.
everybody?
I'm actually from Santee Steak, filling
Oh,
in.
oh, good for you. Well, thank you. But everybody else is Escondido then. Great. Well, we're going to finish strong with Escondido Steak, right? And Pam, you just have to be an adopted Escondido Steak person, okay? Great. And thank you to those of you who are serving on New Year's Day. That's quite a sacrifice, and we greatly appreciate it. But I can tell you, the blessings you're going to get will outweigh any sacrifices you think you might be making. So thank you for being there on New Year's Day. I'm Brother Kirk Draper. I'm on the Regional Giving Machine Committee. I'm over training and volunteers and logistics and whatever else they want me to do. But my full-time calling is as a San Diego South State Communication Director, like Jenny is in the Escondido State. And I'm just coming off this terrible cough flu thing. I saved it for this last training session, so you're lucky. And I avoided as many grandkids as I could, but I think some of them snuck in and gave me the plague. But if you have bought stock in Vicks or Hall's cough drops, you have made a fortune on me this week because I've got cases of them. And hopefully they'll work for me tonight and keep my voice long enough to get you through this training. Let's start with an opening prayer. And I've asked Kyle Vanderstelt to give that opening prayer. So Kyle?
Okay, sure. Heavenly Father, grant this opportunity to meet together, to learn information and instruction on how to be good hosts. Thankful for this opportunity and pray that we'll be successful. Grateful to thy Son. And this is our prayer in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. If you're like me, when you get a new calling or an assignment, or in this case, we volunteered, you're very curious and anxious to find out what we're going to be doing. And whatever we're going to be doing, we want to do it as best as we can. So we came up with this training at the beginning as we were making all of our plans for the Giving Machine to arrive. And you're the lucky ones. You get the benefit from all of our mistakes because we have learned a lot since we started this machine with my steak the Friday after Thanksgiving. We were the first steak to be the guinea pigs, and we did it the first 4 days, and we learned a lot. It's probably why they didn't have the dedication until Tuesday, the 3rd, so that we had time to kind of make sure we were going to do this right. But thank you for being with us tonight. Your lives are going to be greatly blessed because of your ability to volunteer at the Giving Machine. But as I said, we all want to learn what we're going to do. And I don't want to jump into what we're going to do as quick as I'd like, or maybe you'd like, but I want to show you this video that I found on Facebook that's going to help us understand a little bit more about why we're doing what we're doing. So let me see if I can get this thing to play. I always like to wait for all these black bars to go away before I play anything. But I think you'll enjoy this video.
Merry Christmas to all of you.
Christmas is a special time of year.
Because we get to celebrate with Jesus.
And to kick off the season, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints had exciting news.
What a pleasure it is to welcome you here for this year's Light the World Giving Machine announcement.
Giving machines are now rolling out to 106 locations and will be in more countries than ever before.
Hamilton, New Zealand. Panama City. United Kingdom, El Salvador.
Including for the first time in Africa.
Kenya.
And Asia.
Hong Kong, China.
And now there's even a digital machine.
So this digital version of the kiosk machine will be tested in the Orem and the Sacramento locations.
Giving machines are reverse vending machines. Instead of buying an item for yourself, you can purchase something for someone in need.
No better way to celebrate the birth of Jesus Christ than doing what he said was one of the 2 great commandments, to love our neighbor.
In each location, there'll be some local organizations that will be blessed by the donations, but also our global nonprofit organizations that will be blessed. So things like chickens and beehives and pigs and goats. I think people love those. but also feminine hygiene products and supplies to sleep or vocational training.
More than 500 local and international nonprofit organizations are participating in this year's Giving Machine initiative, like Lifting Hands International.
We have 6 items in the Giving Machines this year, all helping refugees and displaced people. One of my favorites is our livestock, goats and chickens. Life is not easy in a refugee camp, but by breeding these animals, refugees, especially the women, are able to have some more income, which brings them stability and self-sufficiency.
Since 2017, 2 million people have visited the machines, and donations exceed $32 million.
We talk so much about the number and the monetary amount of donations, but it is impossible to calculate the people, because it's about people and the blessings that come from what we're doing. And when you look at it from that perspective, when you're changing the trajectory of someone's life, this doesn't just bless them and their family and their community, but children yet to be born.
This is a way to donate that brings joy to both the receiver and the giver.
We're tying thousands and thousands of givers to thousands and thousands of recipients in a new and remarkable way.
When a gift of flowers is given, the scent of the flowers remains on the hands of the giver. And I think that is never more evident than here, where the blessings of that service go both ways.
It makes me feel good.
It makes us feel like we're all brothers and sisters of our loving Heavenly Father, and having the opportunity to contribute to the well-being or the care of others is really gratifying, and certainly the perfect way to start off the Christmas season.
Okay, that worked. Good video, huh? Kind of makes you feel a little bit more about what we're going to be doing at the Giving Machine. Now, give me a second to get back to the presentation, which is never, ever an easy thing for me to do for whatever reason. Get everything to clear. Okay, well, tonight, this is our agenda. First off, I'm going to introduce you to all the charities. There are 7 of them, 5 that are local and 2 global. We'll talk about staffing the Giving Machine and kind of impress upon you the rules about no under 18-year-olds and don't bring any small children, what our roles and responsibilities are as volunteers, some of the parking issues at Old Town, some on-site details, the dress code, and then we'll watch a series of training videos. And then I'll give you a little more insight into each of those training videos as they end to add stuff that we've learned. And then at the end, we can have some question and answer session. So here are our charities. We have Catholic Charities San Diego, Gently Hugged, Old Town San Diego Foundation, Birthline of San Diego, Corazon de Vida Foundation, Save the Children, and Mentors International. Catholic Charities, they provide shelter, food, and immigration and refugee services. They care for the poor and the vulnerable. Their ministry is based on Jesus, who came not to be served, but to serve. In the Giving Machine, these are the 5 items that can be purchased for Catholic Charities: a bed for a night, a fresh start, food for a family, a warm blanket, or a healthy breakfast. Gently Hugged is another local agency, charity, that collects and distributes gently used or new clothing and other items for babies of low-income, military, immigrant, and foster families. There are 5 items in the Giving Machine for Gently Hugged. Next is Old Town San Diego Foundation, our host for the Giving Machine location. They partner with donors, nonprofits, and community leaders, transform lives, and create lasting change. They provide educational resources to elementary children, and in addition, they assist the homeless with work experience, training, and hot meals. And there are 4 items in the Giving Machines for them. Next is Birthline of San Diego. They provide life-affirming support and resources to pregnant women and families with young children. They also provide referrals for pregnancy, adoption, domestic violence, as well as resources for self-sufficiency and independence. Here's the 5 items in the giving machine for Birthline of San Diego. Corazón de Vida, they provide support to orphaned and abandoned children in Baja, Mexico. Their mission is to end child abandonment by breaking the cycle of poverty. And there are 5 items in our giving machines for them. Save the Children is our first global charity, and they focus on child health, education, and protection, working in the hardest to reach places where it's toughest to be a child. And there are 3 items in the giving machine for Save the Children. And our final charity is Mentors International. They're a global nonprofit organization that aims to enable thousands of families and individuals in developing countries to achieve lasting self-reliance through online education, face-to-face classroom education, and one-on-one mentoring. And there are 3 items in the giving machine for them. Now, I hate to break your hearts, but we did not get goats and fish, but we did get chickens. And the chickens happen to be one of the most popularly purchased item. And I learned from a recent email from the coordinating council directors that when they buy a chicken, they actually buy 9 of them. They get them in sets of 9. And they're male and female, so they breed and they lay eggs and everything. But the kids love to buy the chickens. So watch for that when you're down there volunteering. Here are 2 posters that you will see at the giving machine that identify each of the charities, what items can be purchased for them, and at what costs. Donations like a healthy breakfast is $5, which is the least expensive one. And the most expensive one is $120 to feed a baby. Now, as you approach the giving machine platform, these 2 large posters will be on your left-hand side. So if you want to refresh yourselves on who the charities are and what I read to you about each charity so you can tell that to everybody, it's going to be there on those posters. Another smart thing to do would be, as people come up the ramp, ask them just to take a second and kind of look at these posters and get their minds kind of around what they would like to purchase. So their time spent in front of the giving machine is a little less and a little easier too, because they've got an idea what's in there. If they decide to be very, very generous, they can hit 777 on the keyboard and purchase 1 of each item. And that amounts to $1,240. The first night, Thursday night, the day after Thanksgiving, Friday night, I was down there and there was a family in from Arizona, mom and dad and 4 or 5 kids. And I just teasingly said, you look like a big spender, Christmas guy. Why don't you just press 777 on that machine and buy 1 of each? And I'm just joking with him. Well, he looks at his wife, and next thing I know, he's pushing 777 on this machine and has purchased 1 of each. And the cards start to fall. They fall 1 at a time when they do this, so it takes a while. Then he looked at his family again, and they stepped over, got a nod from them. They stepped over to the second machine and did it again. Hit 777 and purchased another set of the donations. It was amazing. From Arizona. Then we've seen a family from Alaska that was here on vacation do it, and a member from my stake do it. And I'm sure there's been many others. So be careful who you tease, like I did. You might have them spending, well, that's good money well spent, but don't do that. It might not be a good idea. So brief them on these cards. And another thing is, I was asked before, when somebody comes up on the platform, who should handle them? First off, my recommendation is to only have 4 people up on the platform. If you have more than that, we have these large posters that you can stand out in the street that are cleverly written that say, have you ever bought a chicken or something like that? have the extra ones do that, because any more than 4 people on the platform is a little intimidating for people to want to come up there. But when they walk up onto the platform, one of the volunteers, one of you comes over and greets them, starts to explain the posters and what we're offering, this charity thing. And then you stay with that person through the whole thing. They walk up on the platform around some red ropes, go up to the giving machine, look at it. They know how to do it. They purchase things in vending machines before. So they clickety-click and they make their purchase. And we'll go through that on some of the training videos. And then afterwards, we have a wicker basket, a brown wicker basket with larger versions of these little cards that are in the giving machines that you take out whatever they bought, have them hold them up in front of them, and we have a big banner on the main wall and take a picture of them with their camera so they have a memory of this, because they love taking their picture, and there's a Christmas tree up there that's nice in the backdrop. So it's kind of a nice way to finish it. And then you walk them off the platform. If you do get a lot of congestion there, then you just got to have to deal with it. You know, tell them stories, ask them questions about themselves. How was their Christmas and stuff like that. And just to get comfortable with them. But don't pass them off. Don't come like a machine assembly line. You stay with them the whole time. You'll be grateful because you'll make some great friends and create some wonderful memories. These are things that we already know about the staffing. There's 5 shift leaders. We'll have operated this machine for 4 weeks now. This will be our last week. But there's been a shift leader couple assigned to each week. And Jenny, is that you and your husband? No? Who is the shift leader? Does anybody know? Because I don't. Okay, that's a little worrisome if you don't know, because they should have been in contact with you to share some information with you, like some of this stuff I'm telling you today. But I'll show you how to find out who they are in a minute. But generally,
I know who they are.
Who are they?
I think it's Don and Donna Martin.
Did anybody know the Martins? Okay, good. Well, I'll show you how to find their contact information, but I'd highly suggest you get a hold of them. Let them know you're on board to be there. They'll appreciate you reaching out to them. But generally, there's 18 people a day, must be 18 years old to be there. And that's not a rule we made up. That's a rule for Old Town that Old Town has given us due to some liability issues of volunteers on their property. But typically there's 5 sites, shift sites, times, and those are them there. Our greatest role is to welcome and greet the visitors. And that is so much fun. We are located in a public parking lot where if you come into Old Town and you come up San Diego Avenue and you go to where you can't go any further or you're going to drive into the park, and there's a Catholic church on the right-hand side. That's Twig Street. Take a right on Twig Street and we're right behind the Catholic church in the public parking lot. You can't miss us once you take that corner, because we got this big Light the World sign and a bunch of stuff. It's well lit. You pull into that parking lot, and then we'll talk about parking in a little while, but what happens, our people are parking their cars there, and they're going to go to dinner or visit some attraction there in Old Town, and they're leaving their cars, and they're normally in a rush. And so they're not anxious to be, talked to, I guess. So you have to be a little clever in getting their attention and take just a second to explain to them what we're doing. The best one I heard was one sister was saying, "This is our giving machine. Do you have any questions?" And most of the time they would say yes. Sometimes they would say no, and then you wish them a Happy New Year, Merry Christmas, and they go on their way. But sometimes they would just stop long enough for you to explain that this is a charitable opportunity for them to donate something to 5 local charities and 2 global charities that can really change lives. And we have donations from $5 to $120. And it's all, no hidden costs. Now, the opposite is also true. When they finish their meals or doing whatever they were doing in Old Town, they're rushing back to their cars. And they usually just want to go home. Well, sometimes it's hard to stop them also. So you just got to be a little creative, a little patient. I was there one night. I noticed a guy had an Indian bead on he was wearing, and his wife did. I said, "Hey, are you guys Indians?" And "Yes, we are." And I said, "Well, what tribe?" And he got to talking about his tribe and was all excited about that. I asked him if they believed in Christmas and Jesus. He goes, "We do, but we call him the Creator," which I thought is pretty cool. And So this guy ended up coming up on the platform and making a purchase. So you never know, but just be patient with them and a big smile on your face and a gleam in your eye. You're there to help them make the donation if they need. If they get confused in front of the display, you can help them. Keep the lines organized and moving. You'll restock the donation cards, and we'll have a video that will show you about that. You'll help clean the machines if they get dirty, which I've never seen them dirty. But if you clean the machine, we have the materials in a white pod that's there just about 3 parking places away from the platform. Offer to take pictures of the donors. Make sure you use their cameras so you don't get caught up trying to text a picture in your camera to them. And please remember that we are there to assist and not to proselyte. This is something that was really pressed onto us by the missionary department so much that the full-time missionaries aren't allowed to be volunteers here in San Diego. I understand they can volunteer at other ones, but not at ours. And if you're a senior missionary, we've asked you not to wear your missionary name tags. Put those in your pocket for the night. And having been a senior missionary, I know how painful that is to take off that missionary name tag, but please do it. If they do ask about the church, and many of them do, just guide them to the churchofjesuschrist.org website. All their answers to their questions can be found there. When you go on the platform, you'll notice nowhere does it say the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. That even shocked me. The only way you can find it, it's on the side of the giving machines. But unfortunately, where we put these giving machines, they're in a little tuckaway, which covers the sides of the machines. So there's no way of them knowing we're the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints from any of the materials that we have out there. But they're going to feel it from your spirit and the way you interact with them with love and kindness and some patience. Okay. I'm going to go to the volunteer guide here. This is what should have been sent to you by your shift leader to kind of prepare you for your day of volunteerism. If you would go back to where you signed up on the Sign Up Genius site, it'll tell you at the very top of that site who your shift leader is and their contact information. And I suggest tonight before you go to bed, you just send them a text or an email and say, hey, I'm on board for being there. I'm going to be there at this time. Looking forward to serving. Look forward to meeting you. Now, the job of your shift leaders, they're supposed to get there an hour before you get there in the morning and set everything up so that when you show up for your first shift, you're ready to go. When you show up for your first shift, whoever that is, they're going to first off take you to the pod. The combination to the pod is 1830. Not a well-known secret to Mormon combinations, 1830. We never lock it except overnight. It's normally just closed. So just close it when you're done. No mess around with locking it during the day. They'll give you, you'll put on your red Light the World t-shirts. They're pretty snappy, but they're not warm. And they'll show you where they keep the key to the giving machines in case you have to unlock them if there's a problem. And there was some bottled water in there, but want to bring that stuff. We'll talk about that later. But that's where you're going to find out who your shift leaders are. And I apologize, I don't know who they are, but we know it's the Millers now, but I don't have their contact information to share with you. Parking at Old Town can be a challenge. We have discovered that. I've gone down there, I don't know how many times, and sometimes I get lucky and sometimes have to park way over at the Caltrans parking lot all the way to the left of your map. But as you can see on this map, you come up San Diego Avenue there, going, I guess this would be east to west. And then you come to just before the park and you take a right, and you pull behind the church, and that's where we are. And that C is a public parking lot, no charge. It's one of the few public parking lots. The other ones are way down by Caltrans to the left, like I told you. But there is free parking on the streets. There's parking behind the Mormon Battalion. So just try to arrive a little bit early. But here is something we came up with as a South Stake that solved a little bit of the parking problems. Raise your hand if you're first shift. None. Oh, too bad. Okay. Well, then, somebody, the iPhone guy, whoever the iPhone guy is, first shift. This is a good message for you. When you get there, you'll see the white pod just a few parking spaces over from the platform. Park your car on either side of that white pod. And then in front of the white pod, there's these traffic cones, big 4-foot tall ones. Put that behind your car so you look special. And if you know the other, I'm talking about iPhone person. If you know the other people in your group, call them or text them tonight and tell them when they come, park next to that pod, wherever you aren't parked, but put a cone behind the car. What's cool about that is you now have saved 2 parking places for the next shift that's going to come. And if you're in the second shift, you should contact the first shift people or vice versa and say, I've saved you a spot. When you get here, double park behind the cars with the cones and the pod. We'll get you through your training and everything takes about 5-10 minutes. And then I'll pull out and you take my parking place. That system has worked out very well. I wouldn't recommend keeping 3 parking places. I think 2 has been enough. That if you'll do that, you'll save yourself a lot of grief with parking. And if you're first shift, you really do want to know who your second shift people are, and you probably want to make sure they're going to come down and don't stand you up. So it'd be good to communicate with them anyway to let them know that you're looking forward to meeting them and you're saving them some parking. They'll love you for that. Second shift, do it for the third shift, fourth, and fifth, and then we're good to go. So that's a good way to try to beat the parking problem in this public parking place.
Brother Draper.
Yes.
Do you mind just telling me exactly where that is again?
No problem. So if you're coming from Escondido, I assume you're going to come in off the 8 to the 5, go south on the 5, get off on Old Town Avenue. And then as you see on this map, you see San Diego Avenue all the way to the right.
Yeah.
That's the road you'll come into Old Town. You just continue up to that. You go to where you can't go any further, and you'll have this old Catholic church on the right-hand side. That's where you take a right-hand turn onto Twig Street. And the platform is right behind that church. It's across the street from the Old Town Theater and the Old Town Chamber of Commerce. Did that help at all, Sister Walker?
Yeah, it did. Thank you.
You're welcome. Glad you asked. Okay. Let's see what's next. On-site details. Please wear comfortable, nice, casual clothes. They suggest Christmas colors, and that's fine. You look pretty cool if you're out there in Christmas. But do wear warm clothes. No matter what time of day, our platform is in the shade. With the way the sun rises and sets, it just doesn't work for us. So wear clothes that you can layer. If you want to put extra jackets or sweaters in the pod, please do it. You can close it down so it doesn't get stolen. We've never had any problem in the pod. Also, if you want to bring food, snacks to eat, that's another good place to keep that stuff. We'd ask you not to have food and drink up on the platform. We've also, I think you might have heard that we ask you not to bring any chairs. Well, that doesn't really work. We just don't want chairs up on the platform because there just isn't enough room for chairs up there. What we did is when we parked in those parking places, like I told you we did, we didn't park our cars all the way up to the curb, just enough to put a couple beach chairs up in front of the cars that you could sit and take a break. So when your team has gotten there, have a quick little meeting and say, hey, let's go for 30 minutes, take a 15-minute break, and then rotate through that. It should work out fine in a 2-3 hour shift so you don't get too burdensome standing around up there if you don't have any business. If you have a person in your group that's handicapped, please make all accommodations for them. If they need a chair up there, put a chair up there. Just move the flowers around and make room for them because they want to serve just like we do. When you get there in the pod, as I said, the first order of business is for you to get your red Light the World shirts, t-shirts, put those things on. There's also scarves in there that look really nice on the women, the ladies. The guys can wear them, but you might not feel comfortable in them, but they're really nice. They're so nice, people take them home. And we're asking here, no, don't take them home because we need to use them next year. But you do get to take the red t-shirt home with you. We're not wearing lanyards or a volunteer badge. That didn't work out for us. You will be standing and walking around until you figure out some break schedule with your group. They must be 18 years old, and please don't bring your children. Not bringing your children's a really, really good rule. where we are is right at the entrance into this public parking lot. And I tell you what, people don't slow down to make that turn. And you've got a little child there and he wanders out into that parking lot. He's got a good chance of getting run over. You'll also notice that across from the entrance is our stage where the performers come to perform. And I know we got somebody coming down there to perform. I don't remember the group one night, but someone will be there to perform. And at that point, we have barricades that we barricade the entrance of that parking lot, and they can't get out there either, block it on both sides. For the 18-year-olds, it just doesn't work out for youth. So come back. I know we're in the last week, but if there's any way you can come back with your children and come back with your 18 and belows, please do so, because these are memories they're always going to remember. And if they can just experience it once, next year when we're back with 4 machines, they're going to have a better feel for it and have a greater appreciation for it. We've already been told by Old Town that if we elect to put them there next year, that they're going to put us into the park now near their Christmas tree where there's a lot more foot traffic. Because where we are now, foot traffic isn't very good. But we do the best we can. They had no idea what we were going to do. We're grateful that they asked us to be there. And then we're hoping that the next, the other 2 machines, because they come in pairs, we hope to get them at Balboa Park, right there by the fountain and where the Santa Claus, all that stuff is. That would be our second target. So we'll be trying that as well. So keep your fingers crossed on that. Okay, here are some training videos. Let's roll through these and I'll stop them afterwards and give you some more insight into them. Remember, we have 2 machines down there, and that's because in the past they had a tendency to break down, so there's always a spare machine. Neither of our machines have broken down or given us any fits at all. So let's watch these videos.
To open a machine, insert the key, turn to the right, and a T-shaped handle will come out. Twist the handle to the left and the door will open.
It is as easy as that. It's one of those weird little round keys, and we keep it on a keychain that's inside the pod. So when you go into the pod, on the left-hand side, there's a metal beam that goes vertical. It's kind of on the side of the pod because the keychain has a magnet on it, and we stick it there. So far, we have not lost the key, and nobody's taken it home. So Escondido Steak and Santee Steak, keep the good going here. No one takes off with the keys. But when you're done with them, put them back. That's the safe thing.
After closing the door securely, twist the T-shaped handle to the right until it is vertical and push into the housing until it locks. You do not need to close and lock the machine with a key. If the door is difficult to close, you might need to put your body weight into the door while locking.
And one thing that he said that kind of much over my head the first time I heard it was, you don't need the key to lock the machine. All you have to do is turn the handle up and down and push it in. We don't have to put a block on the machine to get the door closed either. They close real easy. So you shouldn't have a problem with closing machine, but it does take a little finesse when you turn the knob and push it in. It's got some pressure to it.
To activate, touch any part of the screen to show the number pad.
And like any computer that sits for a while, it's going to shut down. So I always like that when I see it shut down out of the corner of my eye, I go over and touch it so that when people walk up, it's lit, so they don't have to worry about that. But you can start to see how the touch screen works.
To make a donation, enter in the item number. Once entered, the item card will be shown on the screen. Press the Add to Cart button on the bottom right side of the screen. A list of the items chosen will then be shown. The user can then check out and pay for the items or continue. To continue and add more items to their cart, press the Add button on the bottom left of the screen. The user can then add additional items until they are ready to check out.
Okay, it works. It really does work that easy. If I were going to write down a note, this is the note I would probably write down if I were Escondido or Santee Steak, is that in these 2 machines, the items are in different orders. We don't know why that happened. It just did. So what might be in the upper left-hand corner of the machine on the left is not in the upper left-hand corner of the machine on the right. So just be aware of that, especially when you're restocking the machines. What we did to kind of solve some of that problem is when you open the machine, we put a picture of how the cards should be in that particular machine. But also on the trays, it says what's supposed to be there. But I think what's happened, not many times, but enough to make mention of it, the volunteers are looking at the pictures on the card that falls to the bottom machine, and they're matching up the pictures and not the item. Well, unfortunately, they used the same pictures on about 3 or 4 of the cards. Anything involving a baby has the same baby picture on it. And same with some of the meals, the same picture on it. So it's important to separate them by the charity, and then you'll get it right. And we'll talk about restocking the machine here in a minute.
Once the items are chosen, press the Checkout button at the bottom left of the screen. The amount of the donation will be shown. The user can then donate with a credit card. Swipe the credit card with the magnetic strip facing to the left. Tap for payment is also accepted, but isn't as reliable. After swiping the card, processing credit transaction will be shown on the screen and the donated items will begin to drop.
That's the fun part when you see those cards fall down. But don't be surprised if the card doesn't fall down. It's not a big deal. We don't have it happen very often. But sometimes the card just didn't get loaded just right and it gets hung up in the machine. The purchase was still made. Just let it go. We have one slot in the machine on the right that has never worked, so we took all the cards out of it. Also, when you arrive, we have put extra cards in the bottom of the machine because we were told that if there's things down there that looks like they've already been purchased, it inspires more purchases. One thing that doesn't show you, let's hope my voice holds on. It doesn't show you that when they go to make the purchases, another screen will pop up and it asks you if you want to pay the credit card fees or not. It's like less than $1. Do you want to pay this dollar charge for credit card processing fees? Yes or no? If they say yes, they pay for it. If they say no, the church will pay for it. So that's what that's about. It doesn't explain it very well, but we'll pay for it if they won't. So just watch for that. Also, maybe it does it on this next slide. Let's see.
Once a credit card transaction is complete, a receipt screen will be shown with an email or text option. After choosing an option, the user will need to enter their email address or mobile number on the keyboard. If a keyboard isn't shown, press the word box in the center of the screen.
Now this does work pretty cool. I'm a texting kind of guy, didn't do the emails, but every time I would make a little purchase to kind of train somebody on the machine, I would have it text to me. But I learned very quick, do not wait for that text to come in while they're all standing in front of the machine while someone else is trying to step in. It could take up to 5 to 10 minutes for you to get that text because it's got to go someplace up there, figure out where it's got to come back down to, and then get to your phone. So don't wait around the machine for that text to come back. But I've gotten every text that I asked for. They can also send it by email, or they can take a picture of that screen with their phone and then use the QR code to get a copy of the receipt for tax purposes. And the receipts are very legitimate. I'm going to go back to the screen before because I did forget to tell you about something about the credit cards. Yes, it said tap for pay works. Swipe works. There's also the little digital thing. If your credit card has one of those little metal security barcode things on there, it won't let you swipe. It'll ask you to put it up into the machine so it can check that chip for security reasons. Now, we also have seen Apple Pay work. We've seen debit cards work, credit cards work, and then the next moment, one of those won't work. It's a mystery as to why sometimes things work and sometimes they don't. But it's very rare that it doesn't work, one of those items. So just be patient if it happens. Now, here's one thing that we started to do because I had a guy come up to me and he'd gone through the whole spiel, got up to the machine to make a purchase, and all he had was cash. And it was going to be a $20 purchase, I think. And I turned him away. I said, sorry, it doesn't take cash. And I could tell he was disappointed because he got all excited and felt the spirit. And then the thought came to me, why don't I take his $20 and use my credit card and then send him the text? And so called him back, brought him up. I said, I could take your 20. We can use my credit card. You send the text to you so you get credit for your purchase. But what I did do is I had my partner say, is my wife, Jan, say, Jan, I'm going to take this guy's $20 and we're going to put it on our card. I just need to make sure this looks real. Okay. So no, I'm not ripping him off or the church off. So I took his 20, did my card. He sent the text to himself and everybody was happy. So that's something I did. It's probably not a smart thing to do, but I felt good about it. If you decide you want to do something like that for somebody who's only got cash, let your conscience be your guide. But I felt good about it. I only had 2 or 3 more people come up with cash, but I've heard of a lot of people coming up with cash and being turned away, and I'm a little disappointed in that. But we got to make our own decisions.
To restock the machines, please follow these steps. First, after opening the machine, pull all the cards out from the bottom. Second, sort the cards according to the charity into stacks. Third, restock each tray starting from the back until all cards are replaced. Repeat until all trays are restocked. For outdoor locations, you may want to consider using bins to collect and stack the cards to keep them from getting wet.
Now we do have a black container like that, even though we've got some really nice gray indoor, outdoor carpeting there on the floor to kind of keep the cards clean. Take them out, and there's a table around the corner that you can sort them in to be able to bring them back. Only restock one machine at a time so the other one's available for your customers. And my recommendation is to only restock the cards during your shift changes. It's unlikely you're going to, they're going to buy so many that you have to restock that machine. So don't worry about it till you have to, your shift change, and then you can use that time to teach your replacements how to restock the cards. And it does take a special touch to get those cards in between those little spiral things. So, but once you've got it mastered, they all go in real easy. It just takes a touch. But if you're short and you're trying to do the top 2 trays, you will not be able to reach those slots in the back. So we have a white stool there that you can stand on to reach those back ones, unless you have a taller person there that can help you with those. Again, restock them during your shift transfer. For those of you in the first shift, if the shift leaders have already restocked it, ask them to show you how to do it, or else you might be at a loss to train your replacements. Sometimes they get a little too anxious and do it all for you before you get there.
Using your thumbs, pull down the black latches on both sides of the shelf. Lift and pull until the tray slides out enough to be naturally hanging.
Okay, this is another one you want to write down. You saw how she grabbed those little black things at the sides, pushed those black arms all the way down. If you do it, I don't care how long you stand there, that tray is not coming out because you've pulled it down too far. You only go to about the halfway position. And then you'll see the wheels on the tray can now go up into a little notch in those black levers, and you can pull the tray all the way out and set it down so you can restock it. So remember, only halfway, because I don't want to pay for anybody's therapy when you push it all the way down and you can't get that tray out. So just halfway, and that tray will come right out.
Using both hands, slide the tray back into the machine until it stops. Once the tray is almost in, you will then need to lift the 2 small wheels at the front of the tray up and over a guard that keeps the tray in place.
Works exactly like that. Putting them back in is very simple. One other thing that's happened a couple times with the machine on the right, there's a little wire on the door that operates the lights in the door. And the plug is right near one of those trays. And what's been happening is when we pull the tray out, it disconnects that plug and we go to close the door and the lights go on and we think we broke something. And you didn't. Just reopen it, look and see if maybe you unplugged that wire. And if you did, plug it back in and I'm sure the lights will go back on. If you have a problem with the machines and you've done everything you can to fix it, inside the machine, just on the right-hand side is a note from me that says, if you've done everything you can do and it doesn't work, call me. And there's my cell phone number. I'm only about 20 minutes away and I can come down and see if I can fix it. But no one has called me. I called down to make sure I put the right cell phone number down, and I did, but nobody's called me with a problem that they couldn't solve. So I'm sure you guys will be able to do that.
If a machine needs to be turned on or off, unlock and open the machine. Once open, look for a black on and off switch on the lower right side column of the machine.
No real need to turn off these machines. As a matter of fact, we leave on all night long with no security. There's nothing put over these machines, around these machines. We have a security camera there that is monitored, and there is security in Old Town. We've suffered some vandalism, but none on the giving machines themselves. And the vandalism we suffered wasn't anything big. So we're grateful that these machines are being watched over. But the fun thing I was going to tell you about is leaving the machines on through the night. Apparently people coming home from work that work in Old Town and are leaving, going home at about 10, 11 o'clock, they're seeing the machine. They go up there and they're making purchases. Because we come in the morning and there's 10, 15 things bought from each machine in the bottom where they've dropped down into the tray. So that's pretty cool. Pretty cool.
Sometimes the credit card reader in the machine will stop working. To reset, turn off the entire machine and let sit for 10 seconds to fully power down. Turn the machine back on and the credit card reader will begin working after 1 to 2 minutes.
And again, we've never had to turn the machine off to reset it for the credit card reader. So we got some pretty good machines. But if you have to, you at least know now how to turn them off.
The only areas that need cleaning are the inside of the door and bottom tray. Use a cleaner like Windex and a paper towel or soft cloth. Do not spray near lights, wires, or electronics.
And we have all the cleaning supplies in the pod. When you walk in the pod on the right-hand side, there's a shelf. The window cleaner is there and all the towels and cloths that are there. Please use our window cleaner. They've asked us to use ammonia-free cleanser. So Windex and stuff like that we shouldn't use, but use the stuff we've got out there.
Use only glass cleaner. You can spray directly onto the glass, but do not spray directly onto the touchscreen. Instead, use a damp paper towel or soft cloth.
Just like that. Oh, there's that. Damn, we're almost. So what'd you think of that training? Pretty cool? You ready to light the world? I know you are. Anyway, how about some questions? What did I miss? Is anybody going to have to go to the bathroom when they're there? Would you like to know where the bathrooms are? That's a popular question. They're right across the street. If you cross Twig Street and go a little to the left, there's a store called La Paloma. It sells sweaters and t-shirts and socks. As you go into the store, you'll see the checkout counter. On the left-hand side is an elevator that will take you to the 3rd floor where the bathrooms are. Or if you're tough, you can walk on the right-hand side of the counter, walk up 3 flights of steps, and the bathrooms are right up there. Very clean bathrooms, and it's a public bathroom anyway. It's a Chamber of Commerce bathroom. So that one there. The Mormon Battalion's available during the hours that you're there. They're not open late, so if you're a late shifter, you wouldn't be able to use those, but the Chamber of Commerce bathrooms are open till 10 o'clock, and we're gone by 9. But yeah.
Brother Draper, I had a question. Would you prefer I put it in the chat?
No way. Let's just take them like this.
So if anybody asks, particularly so that they make sure this is a legitimate enterprise, if they ask who's sponsoring this, where, who are you affiliated with, can we then offer any information? I know they, again, want us to kind of keep the mention of the church low key, but what if someone directly asks us?
Well, we want to keep the church, the proselyting stuff low key, but the mission of the church is up for grabs. I would tell them flatly, we're a part of LDS Charities, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. The 7 charities that are in these machines have been vetted by the best. And some of them are name brands you might even recognize already. So we don't have any charities in there that aren't going to pass the test for vetting. They're good. I did have one gentleman approach me, I won't say from what organization, and he was quite upset that his charity was not in the machine. And he wanted to talk to the guy in charge. Now, I'm not the guy in charge, but I acted like I was so he could vent on me. And so I told him, said, you just weren't on the list for us to vet. That's the only reason. What you want to complain about or find out about is how do you get on our list to vet next year so that you at least get on our list. You still may not make it, but at least you'll know that you took a shot at it. But to stand here being rude with me about not being on the machine now isn't the way to go. So he walked off, didn't want my name, my email, my anything. He just wanted to argue. So you'll have, you might, I hope you don't have any of those. He was the only one I had. He dimmed my world that night. So I had to go back and light the world again, get fired up. That was only one. Most people are so kind and generous. And the celebrities we've had down there, whether it was Eric Weddle or Joe Musgrove from the Padres, all the Olympic skateboarder, gosh, I forgot her name. They're just marvelous, just amazing. I had a family from my state go down when Eric Weddle was there by himself one night. And he let one of their autistic sons wear his Super Bowl ring to take a picture and gave him an autographed football and just made his day. His mom texted me on the way home and said, thank you for letting us know about this activity. It's the best thing that's happened for our son this year. So you change lives. You'll do this. You'll have great stories to tell after this. How about another quote? Aaron Walker, look at that hand. I love that hand. You a teacher, Sister Walker?
No, I'm not a teacher, but I'm familiar with Zoom. So.
Oh, good. I can never figure out how to raise my hand. I do these things. Go ahead. What's your question?
So did you say that the Hansons are not the shift leaders for?
No, they were mine.
Okay.
I didn't get a copy of who, if I was going to be dangerous, you know what, no, I can't do that. You need to do, like I said, go back to how you signed up.
Okay.
And find it that way. Sorry about that. But are you in Escondido Stake, Sister Walker?
Yes.
Okay, so you know LDS Tools? You got LDS Tools?
I do.
What's their names again? The Millers?
Martin's, Donna Martin, but I looked them up and I don't see them.
I think, and I misspoke earlier, I'm actually in the Santee Ward, but East Stake. I think the Martins may be in the East Stake because we helped fill some shit this week, I think.
Okay. You know what? Did I sent an email, a statewide email out, and it had a link. I might have that for you. Hang on.
I got it. I got an email from them.
Did you?
Mm-hmm.
Me too. That's how I knew about this meeting.
Yeah, and that's good. That's what they should have done. Okay, so it's Don and Donna Martin. Oh, no way. They didn't ask. You can't get it this way anymore. Let me go back and look at that again. Yeah, here we go. Hang on. Success. Their phone number is 619-962-2053. So that's 619-962-2053. And they say you can phone them, text them, and if you want to email them, which I wouldn't recommend because people don't seem to check their emails quick enough nowadays. Their email address is the letter D, as in Donna, Marie, M-A-R-I-E, Mart, M-A-R-T. So D Marie Mart at gmail.com if you want to use an email. I think after this meeting, it's early enough where you can text them and say, hey, looking forward to serving tomorrow. Understand you're our shift leaders and you finished Brother Draper's amazing training and you're ready to serve. That's what I would do.
I'm sorry, can you say the phone number one more time?
I can. 619-962-2053.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Glad you had me do that. That was actually easier than I thought it was going to be.
And I did double check that, Brother Draper. They definitely are the East Stake. So in case it's confusing.
Yeah, that's something that we want to next year when we have our shift leaders. We hope to get them from the stake that's serving, because it would be a lot easier if somebody in Escondido stake was going to be your shift leader while you're there. And I had a wonderful couple that I love from the El Cajon stake, and they were our shift leaders, and they didn't have LDS tools to contact any of us or anything like that. So they were at a loss. And so that's one suggestion that we've gotten that we probably implement next year when we do the same thing. How about another question?
Oh, I didn't raise my hand. I should do that because.
Oh, yeah. No, I wasn't going to let you to ask a question without raising your hand. Go ahead, Pam.
I'm assuming too, since folks are getting receipts, that if they ask, their donation is tax deductible.
It is, and it's very obvious on the receipt that they get via text or email that it's from the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. It has the charitable contribution organization number, whatever that is, so tax ID number. That's what it is.
And since the cards just drop in the machine, they're not getting a card themselves. You're saying they're getting. Okay, got it.
That's right, and that's another thing. We at the very beginning we thought they got to take those cards home, but no, we recycle them and use them over and over. And on occasion, a card might get bent if it's dropped too many times or mishandled, and it's going to be a little harder to put back into the tray. But as I said, after they've made their contribution, then walk them over to the other side of the platform, pull out the bigger posters that are duplicates of the small cards, and take a family picture. Hold them all up. If they do a 777, just have them hold the whole wicker basket. That's kind of a cute way to do that. Okay. Who's next on the questions here? Jenny, why don't you go ahead with yours?
All right. So my cute husband, I signed up for crowd safety and line control. When we were down there the other night, we noticed people were actually doing traffic control. I don't know if those were volunteers for Giving Machine or if that was somebody working for the city. So just wanted to know what the crowd control, what that duty is.
Yeah, that confused even me when they titled it that. When you get down there, just get all your people together and decide what you're going to do. We don't do car traffic control. Definitely don't do that. Crowd control might just be that if you get a lot of people all at once, you want to, and there's extra red ropes and poles that you can bring out from the pod, extend that down from your giving machine so you don't have these people standing in the driveway. Have them stand in that area. There's about 4 parking places between the platform and the pod. Have them kind of line up there. It's unlikely that's going to happen. Now, on our big nights, we had the big people there like Eric Weddle and Joe Musgrove. That was actually the big day. You'll get a lot of people, but at those times, we've barricaded off the road. No cars can even get in there, so you really don't have any crowd control. You just need somebody like me to put the barricades there and look mean for a minute while you make drivers upset. So no big deal. No big deal. Okay, Sister Walker, you have another question?
Yeah, I just wanted to know, did you encounter anybody questioning maybe why we aren't doing something with local charities? I know some people have asked about that, from what I've heard. And so was there any like scripting that you guys shared with anybody?
Well, you might have joined us a little late, Aaron, is why I'm saying what I'm about to say. We have 7 charities in the machine. 5 of them are local charities, and 2 of them are global. So the top 5 are Catholic Charities, Birthline of San Diego, Corazón de Vida. What are the other ones? Oh, shoot. Now I forgot. That's too bad, huh? It's the cold getting to me. But there's 5 that are local, so no one has a complaint about where the charities are, because 5 of them are local. And Catholic Charities, there's no bigger name than Catholic Charities, because they run Father Joe's Villages and almost every vending machine in the county. So there's not been any concerns about who they are. The concerns, only a few have they been vetted? And the answer to that is yes, very deeply, very deeply. So they deserve to be there. Oh, gently hug too. Thank you, Pam. Okay, have had you for an hour. You guys, for a small group, you've gone the longest, but that's good. I appreciate you having the patience. If you have any other questions, no. Jenny, after this, would you be willing to give the closing prayer? Thank you. So question asking going once, twice, 3 times. Thank you again for joining us tonight. You are in for the time of your life. These are things that you're going to experience at the Giving Machine that you won't get anywhere else, but you're going to be so filled with the spirit of giving and Christ's love, and the ability of our church to do this amazing thing will strengthen your testimonies. I testify of that. Thank you for being with us tonight. Jenny, closing prayer, please.
Father in heaven, we're thankful for this opportunity to be here this evening to learn about our upcoming responsibilities and how we can help light the world. And we're thankful for the amazing things that our church does to love and serve those in need and to help and love one another. We're thankful for our ability and opportunity and willingness to serve, and ask that all will go well as we serve, and that people will feel the Spirit as they give to those in need. And bless that it'll be a blessing to all involved. And we're thankful again for our membership in thy church, and to know thee and thy son, and for the celebration we just had of thy son's birth. And we're thankful to spend this time together this evening. And we say these things in the name of thy son, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Jenny. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Light the world. Bye-bye.
Thanks so much.
You're welcome.